Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha. And it is wonderful, wonderful to have you all here this evening practicing on this beautiful Memorial Day. One of the things that is such a wonderful thing to remember on Memorial Day is how the eyes of our ancestors are upon us, gazing with us, surrounding us, loving us, supporting us. So the mystery of the unseen world really comes forward in our consciousness today, where we honor our beloved dead. We also honor those who are in the armed forces and the systems that represents. For a lot of people, there is great honor and reverence for our military. From a Buddhist point of view, if we can use the military to also cultivate environments of peace and resolution and reconciliation, well, that is a mighty positive endeavor indeed. So we bring all of that into our practice today to set the stage for our reflections on boundaries. And I'd like to just take a moment to honor our beloved dead, honor their memory, honor all of those who have sacrificed their lives, honor all of our loved ones who live within each of us. This lovely sentiment of metta reads, "May your heart beat with the rhythm of life." May your heart beat with the rhythm of life. For the month of May, we have been having an in-depth conversation about the cultivation of healthy boundaries. And many of you have heard me talk about boundaries in terms of something called the Bala Clóthe, which is Gaelic for stone wall. Boundaries, borders, places of pause. Altars of understanding. Places where we can be protected and fortified in the four foundations of mindfulness to keep ourselves in a space that is devoted to practice, aspiring to be a healed, whole version of ourselves, free of negative habit energy. This is such a radical idea about how many of us have been introduced to the idea of boundaries, which are fortified, giant, impenetrable, fortress-like walls, nothing getting in, nothing getting out. Places of seeming protection. And yet, if the walls are too high and too thick, where we can't see what's going on with a person with whom we are boundaried, if we can't hear them, if we can't interact, if we can't connect, then we actually don't have a relationship. Sometimes that's okay. The problem is that we've applied that kind of boundary for every single relationship we have. In other words, we've over-applied it. We've built our walls too high. We've built them too thick, and they have become prisons, tombs. We have become a world that has never been more lonely and disconnected. So my encouragement is to lower the walls, to knee high, thigh high. Build them from the stones that you've gathered from your life experiences. Make your boundaried space beautiful. Open yourself up. Risk being hurt. Risk being challenged. Risk being uncomfortable. Sometimes that's where the growth and learning happens. Not always, sometimes. And this is not to say that we don't interact with certain people and have very, very strong fortress-like walls. This is simply a practice inviting us to be more discerning. Not everybody needs that kind of wall. Sometimes we're boundaried with people that it's just a single stone layer separating myself from this other person. But that single level of stone is enough to cause me to pause so that I don't mindlessly trip into somebody's space and find myself involved with somebody else's life where I really don't belong. So even a single stone layer is enough of a border to create pause, to slow down so that my next action can be a wise one. Last week, we brought forward the metta meditation, where we were meditating on being bordered with people we love, people we like, people we don't know at all, and people who really rattle our cages. And then on Friday, I brought forward, what if we put ourselves in the position of somebody that we could really love, someone that we like or feel kind of neutral about, somebody who's a complete stranger that we barely even notice, don't pay attention to. And then, of course, we can put ourselves in the position of the person that we reject, dismiss, have all kinds of judgment and discursive feeling toward. Today, I'd like to simply come back to basics of building boundaries and invite yourself to be the center of your world. Be self-centered. Be it with pride and strength. It's okay to be self-centered. And look around you. Everybody else is self-centered too. Give them that allowance. Allow them the grace to be self-centered, self-focused. We're learning a lot about ourselves here. We need that level of attention. So center yourself in your space. Breathe. And rather than take up the judgment And the old story that to be self-centered is to be terrible or wrong, such an unworthy endeavor. Flip it on its head and remind yourself, wait a second, to be self-centered and self-focused is actually how I'm going to heal myself. I am fully concentrated on my needs, my wants, my disappointments, my joys, everything that makes me a whole human being. And as I gaze out over these stone walls and I see people in my neighborhood, for example, what if each one of them took time to cultivate deep, regarding self-reflection and self-awareness? What if everybody could commit to creating spaces around themselves that were friendly and beautiful? Even the harsh edges of some of these stones, we all have them. What if we endeavored to smooth them out just a little bit? Invite the weather and time to gently smooth out those hard, sharp points. What if we left them alone? What if some of the prickly aspects of ourselves were actually of service? Can we open up some space to look at those pointed, edgy parts of us and get curious about, how has that served me well? And maybe I can preserve that. How has that served me poorly? And maybe I can smooth that out. Allow yourself to be in this bordered space, surrounded by the people in your life. Can you see them clearly and everything that's going on in their lives? How do you handle it when somebody throws some of their stuff into your space? A little garbage from their life floats over and lands in your space. What do you do with it? There's lots of things we could do. Sometimes we toss it back. Sometimes we pick it up and throw it away. Sometimes we pick it up and put it in our pocket and carry it around like a heavy resentment. Sometimes we can pick it up and put it on the wall and ask the person on the other side of the wall to look at it. Hey, this came from your space. Let's leave it here. You can do something with it when you're ready. So many options to choose from. What if there's somebody that you're bordered with growing something on their space, in their space, that is thorny and smells bad? What are you going to do? Would you look at that? As you look at yourself and examine yourself, what do you do when you're bordered with somebody that you love and they're struggling? And you want to get in there and you feel called to fix it, but you know you can't. Can you stay at the wall and bear witness and give them space and love them through? Can you simply be a presence that constantly radiates, you are well loved, I love you, over and over again? How would it feel if somebody radiated that toward you as you were struggling with something? Somebody just trusting you enough to give you space to figure it out, and at the same time offer you the message, I love you, I respect you, I honor you, I have no doubts, I trust you. These are things that we can cultivate, but we can't do them if we can't cultivate this if we don't take the time to center ourselves, to be self-focused. So let's just take a couple of moments of quiet and let this all settle in and allow your self-focus to be a pleasant, friendly activity of discernment. Look at who's bordering your life. Look at the challenges and ease they afford you. Look at the ways that you have opportunities to learn and to grow and to mature. Notice what you notice. And should you wander away from the practice, smile at your awareness, breathe, and come back. so wonderful, friends. And and thank you for bringing forward, would you look at that? It's such a wonderful statement and mantra. And I think I'd like to end our practice today with another. And that is one of the things that we are flipping on its head in the Spokane Sangha is we're really abandoning the notion that practice makes perfect. It's such a nonsensical idea, and frankly, it's boring. Perfection is boring. It's dull. It lacks all kinds of texture and color. What we're endeavoring to do is practice makes practice. And so as we end this beautiful practice today, and we have lots and lots of fodder to work with, I just invite you to take refuge. In the Buddhist practice, we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, the person who was able to awaken from the causes and conditions of suffering, the teachings that he and many, many, many others brought forward as they came alive in them through their own unique experiences. And we share that with the community, with the Sangha, who mirrors for us, reflects for us, encourages us, challenges us even. And at the end of the day, even with these three jewels, we all hold them in the palms of our hands as truly a precious treasure. And we bring those treasures back to the level of our own hearts and come home. Come home to the wholeness and mystery of you, where the three jewels will come alive and illuminate and radiate your unique mystery and divine goodness. May you be fearless about it, because the world is desperate to have you. Your magnificence, your munificence, your wonder. Thank you for bringing it here, for leaving such an amazing impression on this community, for being a limitless source of inspiration for me. I look forward to practicing with you again. Until then, namaste.